All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to our in-depth analysis, where we're going to transform the incredibly complex biology of what happens to our bodies at night into a clear, actionable blueprint for perfect sleep. Think of this explainer as your ultimate masterclass in nighttime recovery. We aren't just talking about feeling a little less groggy in the morning here. We are talking about fundamentally optimizing your biology from the inside out.
Because here is the terrifying reality, guys. Sleep isn't just a luxury. It's a hardcore biological necessity. And when we neglect it, the stakes are incredibly high. Poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It actively accelerates aging, bringing on wrinkles much faster. But even worse, it drastically increases your risk for severe long-term conditions like heart disease, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. Our performance, our focus, and literally our long-term survival all hinge on the quality of our rest.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're breaking this sleep blueprint down into 4 key pillars today. The best sleeping position, the chemical battle of melatonin versus cortisol, some proven hacks for deeper sleep, and finally, the ideal sleep duration by age.
Starting with pillar number 1, the best sleeping position, and how to properly align your body with gravity and biology.
You might be totally shocked to learn that 63% of people sleep sideways, but a massive portion of them are doing it in a way that is actively working against their own organs. It really makes you wonder, right? Are you sleeping in the wrong position every single night without even realizing the strain you're putting on your body? Well, let's look at the anatomical evidence.
Think about the simple physics of our internal organs. When you eat, food travels down a pipe called the esophagus into your stomach, which sits on the left side of your body, and it's shaped kind of like a bean. Now, at the end of the esophagus is a valve. If you sleep on your left side, gravity naturally pulls the gastric acids at the very bottom of that bean shape, keeping them far, far away from the valve. But if you flip over to your right side, you completely reverse this natural protection. The acid spills right up against that valve, leaking into the esophagus, which is exactly what causes heartburn, acid reflux, and eventually conditions like GERD.
And the benefits of left-side sleeping absolutely do not stop at digestion. Let's talk about your heart. The biggest artery in your body, the aorta, arcs toward the left side to deliver blood to your lower body. Think of your heart like a water pump in a high-rise building. Pumping water from the ground floor up to the 10th floor takes a massive amount of effort. But letting water flow from the 10th floor down to the ground? That's effortless. When you sleep on your left side, you're letting gravity do the heavy lifting for your aorta. You are basically giving your heart an 8-hour vacation every single night. Right-side sleeping, on the other hand, forces your heart to pump directly against gravity.
Furthermore, your spleen, which is a really crucial part of your lymphatic system that filters damaged blood cells and waste, is also located on your left side. Unlike your circulatory system, the lymphatic system doesn't have a dedicated pump like the heart. It relies completely on muscle contractions and gravity to drain waste. Ayurveda has recognized this for thousands of years, and modern science totally backs it up. Sleeping on your left side provides natural drainage, helping your body effortlessly flush out toxins and disease-causing waste while you're busy dreaming.
But hey, what if you just aren't a side sleeper? Well, sleeping on your back keeps your spine in a natural alignment and requires zero extra energy, though it definitely can make snoring and sleep apnea worse. But stomach sleeping, this is the absolute worst position. It dangerously twists your neck, misaligns your spine, and forces your circulatory and digestive systems to work so incredibly hard that your body actually consumes 25% extra energy just to survive the night. I've got to admit, I'm guilty of this one. I'm a total stomach sleeper, but seeing data like this really makes me realize I need to slowly train myself to sleep on my left side just to avoid serious disc problems down the road.
So, moving on to pillar 2, melatonin versus cortisol, the chemical battle for your rest.
While physical alignment is absolutely crucial, it's really only half the battle. Our sleep quality is ultimately dictated by an invisible chemical war happening inside our brains. To understand this, we have to define the circadian rhythm. This is literally your body's built-in 24-hour clock. For millions of years, human biology has been perfectly synced with the rising and setting of the sun, and our hormone production follows this exact, precise cycle.
You've got 2 main players in that cycle, melatonin and cortisol. Melatonin is your sleep hormone. It thrives in total darkness, flooding your system to give you deep, restorative rest. Cortisol, on the other hand, is the stress hormone. Now, it's not inherently bad. It spikes with the morning sunlight to wake you up and make you alert and attentive. The problem arises when our modern lifestyle artificially messes with this delicate balance. If you want a perfect night of sleep, you need high melatonin and low cortisol. It's that simple.
Let's move to pillar 3, hacks for deeper sleep. These are actionable steps to hack your environment.
Look,
If you can control your environment, you can control your hormones naturally without relying on supplements that might have unwanted side effects. First up, absolute darkness. Just how sensitive are we to light? Well, researchers at Cornell University conducted a study where they put a subject in a pitch-black room, attached sensors, and then shined a light no bigger than a tiny 50 pases coin on the back of the subject's knee. Just that tiny amount of light on the skin was enough to completely disrupt the person's entire sleep cycle. Total pitch-black darkness is absolutely non-negotiable for natural melatonin production.
Next, we have to address the giant elephant in the room, our screens. Harvard researchers confirmed that the blue light from our phones, laptops, and TVs directly increases cortisol and suppresses melatonin. In fact, for every single hour you expose your eyes to blue light at night, you lose exactly 30 minutes of deep, restorative sleep. That is a devastating loss for your body's recovery process.
So, what can we actually do about this tonight? If you absolutely cannot sleep in pitch darkness, swap out your standard night light for a red bulb, which won't trigger that cortisol spike. For your screens, enable the built-in blue light filters. They turn your screen a pale, warm yellow color. If your device doesn't happen to have it, just download the Twilight app for Android or F-Lux for your laptop. These automatically adjust your screen's color temperature as the sun goes down in the real world. It's a total game changer.
Another major environmental factor is your room temperature. Biologically, our internal body temperature needs to drop for us to enter deep sleep. If your room is too hot, your body works overtime to regulate its heat, keeping you awake and restless. Research shows the absolute sweet spot for your bedroom temperature is right between 16.6 and 20 degrees Celsius. Keep it cool.
But if you want a true, next-level physiological hack, try this out. Take a warm bath about 2 hours before bed. I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive. Why add heat to our bodies if we want to cool down? Because when you step out of that warm bath, your body reacts to the sudden temperature change by rapidly releasing heat from your core to match the cooler room. This rapid heat dump actually forces your internal core temperature to drop slightly below normal, which perfectly primes you for the deepest sleep possible.
Which brings us to Pillar 4, ideal sleep by age, finding the precise quantity needed for your demographic.
Now that we've optimized the quality of our sleep, how much of it do we actually need to reap all these amazing health benefits? Based on data compiled by 18 experts from the National Sleep Foundation, you can find your specific age bracket right here. Notice how newborns require a massive 14 to 17 hours just to develop properly. As we move into the school age and teen years, it tapers down to 8 to 11 hours, but I want you to look at the adult bracket. From 18 to 64 years old, the absolute medical consensus is 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Not 5, not 6. 7 to 9 hours is exactly what your brain and body require to clear out toxins, repair cells, and prevent those terrible long-term diseases we discussed at the very beginning. And even seniors over 65 still need a solid 7 to 8 hours.
So, we've covered the undeniable biological advantages of sleeping on your left side. We've seen how total darkness and temperature control allow your body to naturally win the chemical battle for melatonin. And we now know exactly how many hours our specific age bracket demands. Knowing all of this science, what is the one thing you are going to change about your sleep routine tonight? Are you going to turn on that blue light filter, finally lower the thermostat, or maybe even try sleeping on your left side? Your heart, your brain, and your future self are depending on the choice you make when you turn off the lights tonight. Thanks so much for joining this analysis, and sleep well.